Hello, everyone. Welcome back to DeFIRE Office Hours. Looks like we just have a couple people today. We got a little bit of a late start. Um, so, um, Smitty, do you have anything you'd like to ask? I can invite you onto the stage. If you just want to raise your hand, I can invite you up. Otherwise, I can just kind of um, go through some of the things going on right now. Cool. So I'll just do an update then. Sounds good. Okay, so last week on Thursday, we went through some of the details of the Spark protocol. We did a short overview of the overall ecosystem that we're planning to build out with our Spark, Blaze, and Ignite protocols and how they'll work together. We did a short synopsis of the DAO structure that we're working towards. And so right now, in terms of things we have going on, let's see, one second. Just answering a few people real quick. Okay, sorry about that. So let's say no rush. Good. Great, thank you. I can see you're typing, Smitty. I'm waiting to see what you have to say before I go on. Yes. So you'll be helping with the DAO structure. That sounds great. Okay. And we're just putting out another announcement. So to see if anybody else ends up coming into the office hours. It looks like a couple more people are showing up. Hey, everybody. Um, so this week, there's been a ton going on behind the scenes. We just finished up our first two contests, um, and those were really successful, especially the invite contest. We are hovering around 1,000 members, and there are so many protocols that launched that don't even have half that many members. So I'm really excited about the kind of the excitement that the community is showing, and the effort that's been going on has been really inspiring for sure. Um, and at the rate that we're going, I think we'll probably have a pretty nice sized community by the time we get to pre-launch. So um, that will have its own challenges, and I think everyone's really ready for it. Um, let's see. So for myself, we've been working on a couple of different articles that are going to get put out soon. Some of them have to do with the Spark protocol and just documentation, like the white paper that you would read when you sign into the app. That all needs to be updated. Obviously, even though we're launching a seniorage protocol, there's quite a few little differences there, and so it's far from a copy paste in terms of um, all of the all the things that would need to go into the white paper. So we're getting a couple of different contributors working on different aspects of that. That's coming along nicely. Um, we have some articles being written about the FIRE movement and how that kind of plays into what we're doing. Um, and I'm assuming most people probably here understand what the FIRE movement is, but if you don't, it's basically uh, it's a way of investing. It's kind of an attitude towards investing where you're trying to live frugally and put a lot of your income into your investments early in life or just whenever you can start, and try to get to the point where you can retire as early as possible. And so that has a lot to do with how you structure your investment portfolios, how you approach diversifying your risk in your portfolio. And that's all stuff that we're trying to integrate into our system. Just going to see if anybody's got any questions yet. Guys, if you have any questions while I'm talking, feel free to type them in the questions thread, and I'll try to answer them as I'm going. So that's going to be a really good article to come out. I think that's going to. There's not a lot of conversation in DeFi about that idea. There's a lot of conversation about where can you find the next great APR, or what's the next big protocol, and what's the new tech and all that kind of stuff. But um, people don't really talk about like what's the greatest community in DeFi. Like, where can you go where you're going to find other investors that are going to that are invested in a protocol, but for good reasons, not because it's a cult, not because the dev is like the legend dev or whatever, but actually because of just the fundamentals of what's being put together. And I hope that that's what we're working towards. So um, I think that with the DAO 2.0 structure, that's really going to help us to achieve that, because there's going to be so many people that have different areas of expertise, and there's going to be a lot of debate on different aspects of protocol development, from policy to tokenomics, engineering. That's all stuff that can be worked on in a proposal and then over time adopted, or it can be brought up from the committee up to vote. And so that's going to be really cool to see how that all develops. It's going to be a challenge for sure, but it should be really fun as well. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so Phoenix just announced the winners of the invite contest. So if you go to announcements, you can see that. Um, it was just it was awesome. I think like there are some people that are super bought into what we're trying to do here and invited a ton of people, and obviously that's gonna hopefully this is gonna be a nice reward for them. Um, but also it's gonna be great for all of us that are here. They're gonna benefit from just the bigger community going into the pre-sale and going into the launch. So thank you everyone who spent all the time just reaching out to everybody inviting them into the community. And also thank you to everybody who tried to get out on Twitter and extend our reach. Um, that's something that we still have to do a lot of work towards, but we made a lot of ground this week. So we're going to keep pushing that for sure. Let's see. What else are we working on? So obviously the engineering team is continuing to work on the pre-sale details. and the branding and marketing teams are working on the user interface and some of the um, branding assets. There's a ton of work going on there, um, and then there's been other conversations that are a little bit more in the weeds about um, bringing on contributors and how to make sure that they get linked up properly, make sure that everyone's feeling that their time is being used efficiently. Um, as you can see at the top of the left bar in the Discord, we have 24 members on the team now. So some of those people are coming on as contributors, or they're in the Spark group, and they're going to be doing projects, as they come up. But the more people that come on, the more that we want to make sure that we've got lots of good systems in place. And so far, I think that the team, Phoenix and Glitch and Firefly, have all been doing a great job with that. Um, and some of our contributors are going to help starting building out notions to kind of keep everybody up to date on what tasks are going on out there, so people in the community can see what's being worked on and how far it's come along, and how quickly we're able to get to it. Give everybody confidence that we're working hard, that there are things going on from day to day, even if you don't see it in the general chat channel. Um, just being really transparent. Let's see. Oh, cool. Thank you, Smitty, for asking a question. So Smitty asks, do you guys have a Trello, Asana, or InVision app? I know that the engineering team is using Trello um, for their tasks, and actually Phoenix is going to answer too. Um, but yes, yes, we're definitely fans of using any kind of project management tools that link up with whatever the discipline is. Cool. So Phoenix just posted in the questions thread. We use Trello, Notion, Miro internally, and we're also looking at Clarity and switching everything over to that. And he posted a link to Clarity if anybody wants to see what that's about. Um, so yeah. I mean that if you go back and look at one of our recent Medium articles, um, we talk about. I think it's the one called distributed responsibility. With that one delves into the DAO 2.0 concept and touches on security, responsibility, um, just an open format where everyone can have some sense of what's going on. DAO 2.0, if you don't know, the structure is a structure where DAO 1.0 would be a top-down structure where you have your devs, and the devs and whatever the moderator team and a few uh, lead contributors kind of talk back and forth, and then that the decision making comes from the devs, and then it's carried out by the contributors and the moderators, and then that spreads down to the community. So that's kind of a top down uh, organizational structure. DAO 2.0 structure gives a little bit, well, not a little bit, it gives a lot more community um, power in terms of creating working groups of really highly skilled people around all of the different aspects of the uh, of the project that need to be covered. Anything from um, you know marketing to engineering, developing our engineering team further, um, working on content, people that work on the human resources side. So just keeping everybody organized and making sure that everyone gets compensated. Um, People that are working on the community management side. So Phoenix and the people that will be working with him to make sure that um, everybody in the community is getting their questions answered, that they know where to go to get information, that we're giving people information about how to best strategize to be involved with the different protocols, all of that stuff. So each of those areas will have a working group, and that there'll be a team lead. And so right now, our founding team is providing a lot of the leadership and helping build out the structure. Um, and as we get to the point where the individual working groups can have more autonomy, then all of the founding team will be working within their areas of expertise. So Glitch will be working with the engineering team, and Phoenix will be working with the community management, doing the project management stuff, and Firefly will be doing a lot with coordinating people that are in the contributions that are doing that are contributing, um, and so they'll be working in parallel with other people that are community leads, and still be providing leadership for the protocol, having an outward face for the for the rest of the DeFi space. But in terms of the investor community making decisions, they'll be more of a autonomous, like what the DAO means, decentralized autonomous organization. So the autonomy aspect of it and the um, equal distribution of responsibility will be really pronounced. Phoenix wrote, I was also going to mention on the topic of how much happens behind the scenes. You can see there's a counter for channels. There's 103 channels, and a really large percentage of the total messages in the server happen in private channels for contributors and Sparks. So that's a good piece of information for everybody. That when you come into our Discord server, there's a lot of different channels. Some of them are public, some of them are private. Um, and so if you are new to the Discord and seeing things in that left search bar and wondering what's going on, there is a lot of communication that goes on between different contributors in the team throughout the day, and really 24/7. Another thing that might be good to bring up today, it came up this week, was the idea of distributing, and I think Smitty, it might have actually been something that you mentioned, that you talked about in the general chat, um, the whole idea of the fact that our team and our contributors are not just in one or two time zones. We're pretty much distributed pretty evenly around the globe, so that at any given time, if there's a question that requires some sort of um, information from a higher level of decision making, there's somebody awake who can answer that question. Um, I know from my own experience working as in a mod in a different community that didn't have that kind of distribution, and all of the devs and a good percentage of the mods, were on it, most of the time, but there was like a window of like 5 or 6 hours in a pretty important time zone for a lot of our investor base, when uh, if you needed an answer, there was a mod probably that you could ask the question, but the mod was, pretty much always going to say, well, let me get back to the dev, and I'll get an answer for you as soon as possible. But, you know, then the person asking the question might, it might be, midnight or later by the time that the dev comes on, and who knows if the dev has time to answer the question right away. And so, it might be another 24 hours between before those two people link up and the person who asked the question actually gets an answer. Or sometimes it even takes longer than that. So hopefully in the structure that we're building, everything except for like really, really high level, we're not sure yet kind of questions when it has to do with like, you know, maybe it has to do with a partnership and we're still trying to iron that out or something like that. All of the other like nuts and bolts kind of questions, you should be able to get an answer. And that should really help with investor sentiment, I think. I think a lot of the time um, people are just kind of discouraged when they feel like they're asking a straightforward question and nobody's able to give them an answer. What else can we talk about? Guys, do you have more questions for me? Let's see. Okay, what do we got? Thank you. I agree. Smitty thinks that the structure and vision has massive potential, and I totally agree. I think that's why we have such a large number of such a large community already getting built in the first week is the fact that there's a lot of people out there that want to find something like this. Um, yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem. I think the team is all very hungry. I know for myself, I had some of the beginnings of the idea of what we're building before I got involved. It wasn't exactly has what it's turned into, but I think everybody who on the founding team, myself, and some of the other folks that are coming in, um, had had a vision that some of the major protocols that have come and gone that have kind of worked but then fizzled out or are still trying to lag along but haven't quite figured out how to shift, how to transition. Um, Everybody just felt like there's got to be a better way, and I think that we're answering some of the questions that people have had in the past. Um, yeah, yeah. So Smitty says people are tired of the degen chases or token wars between VC. Totally agree. Totally agree with that. Um, yeah, I mean, the idea of having the ability to find um, all of the different levels of risk adjusted assets in one ecosystem, I think is going to be really cool. Doesn't mean that we're saying you don't need to invest anywhere else. We got everything you need, but like just the fact that you can have some sort of efficiency in searching for those things and having those different assets play off of each other in one portfolio is going to be a huge deal. And I think you know there's already been some people that have kind of like made my eyes bug out that they have already figured out that we're here. Um, and We definitely we have a ton to do to prove ourselves, and we plan to do that. But also, like you say, there is some really high potential for this. I'm just waiting for what I assume is a question. Yeah, so Smitty is alluding to the second protocol that will be built out after our launch. Our initial launch will be the Spark protocol, which is a seniorage protocol pegged to Matic. And then the second protocol is one that's highly anticipated, the Blaze protocol, where we will have asset containers. So different different tokens, different kinds of assets that are pooled together in a container, and they are structured to create a certain level of return with a certain level of risk adjustment. So part of that protocol structure will be that there'll be some pre-built containers, but then there will also be the opportunity for people to create containers. And Smitty's talking about the potential for that aspect of that protocol. Yes, and Phoenix is mentioning that that aspect of being able to build containers and people being motivated to try and create really successful containers is going to have great marketing potential, because there's people out there in the DeFi social media space that would really love to be able to take that concept and prove themselves, and then be able to share that with other people, so that the reach of that particular aspect of the protocol could really blow up. Sure. Thanks for coming in and talking with us, Smitty. All right. Have a great day. Thanks for coming in again, Smitty. Let's see. We still have a little bit of time. Um, but at the moment, it's just me and Phoenix. So it's everybody from the team. So I might just vamp because I'm recording this, just so that people can have some more information. Um, Phoenix, if you think of anything pertinent to this particular week that I should announce, let me know. First of all, if you're new to the protocol, you can find Medium articles posted in the announcements, or links to Medium articles. We have a bunch of Medium articles now, and more coming soon. So you can find an overview of the protocol. You can find an overview of our governance structure, how the organization is going to function. You can find a breakdown of our governance token, the DeFIRE token, and how that works in synergy with the rest of the protocol as it's built out, and why we're really excited um, to have one token that is used for governance of the entire ecosystem, which we believe will be really powerful. It will really give a lot of incentive to our investors and reward them for their loyalty to the program in a way that, or to the project in a way that uh, you can't really find. It's a pretty unique structure, and we think that people are going to really um, be excited about what they get out of it, and the sense of fairness and possibility that they get from being an investor in the DeFire token. So the governance, the locked version of our DeFire token will be our governance token. So you can buy DeFire, lock it for anywhere from a week to several years, and depending on how long you lock it, you get a larger percentage of the fees that are collected from all the different protocols that are then paid back as revenue share to the investors. So that those are all articles that are out there that are available to read. Um, Also, there's announcements about upcoming contests. We'll have another invite contest, and you can get roles that will give you earlier access to our pre-sales. So you'll get a priority whitelisting if you are one of our top inviters to the Discord, or if you are one of our top Twitter posters that reaches that puts out more posts and reaches more people, helps us grow our social media presence. Those are two different contests that'll be coming up, and there is also one or two other contests that'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks before we do our pre-sale. Oh yeah, there's going to be a knowledge test. So one of the contests that you can get a role that will boost your whitelist position will be to test your knowledge of the DeFIRE ecosystem. And some of the roles that you can get that will help towards your whitelisting are contributor, being a Spark contributor, which is just doing contributions by the per task. If you boost the server, and then there's a role called raid, which is basically the role for being a one of our Twitter posters. Um, there's also going to be what's called a fire starter role, which will be for community members who have a strong belief in our mission and a deep understanding of the ecosystem and excellent communication skills. So they'll help us get out our story and our message, and help us to spread awareness. Um, so those are all ways that you can contribute if you are interested in um, being part of the team, and or just wanting to be able to get that early spot on the whitelist for the pre-sale. Let's see. Let's see. That's a good idea. I should go ahead and talk about the newest article that we put out is about the DeFIRE Academy. So that is also linked in the announcements. Um, so I wrote an article last week that goes into why we think that it's important to educate our investor community, and why we think that there are issues with education in DeFi that that really deserve to be addressed, and that we have ideas about how we can address them. And um, part of DeFi growing and expanding to an investor base that's still out there, that's interested in crypto but hasn't adopted it yet, is just making everything more accessible, more understandable. So having more quality content, and then getting that content in front of people who are interested in onboarding onto protocols in the DeFi space. So that is a project that has short, medium, and long-term goals. So the immediate plan there is to create resources for onboarding all of our um, community members who are already in the DeFi space or are just coming into the DeFi space, and have at least obviously enough knowledge to have run into us on the Discord, and have traded crypto before and have an understanding of how to set up a wallet, how to bring how to transfer fiat into cryptocurrency, get it onto the proper chain. So the blockchain, wherever the protocol is, all of those things. Those. So our initial education is for people who have those basic skills, and we want to talk to them about what we're doing, and the sophisticated aspects of what we're doing with our protocols. So we want them to understand how our seniorage protocol works, how the Spark protocol works, and why it's different than other seniorage protocols. And then, we want to give them the tools to be able to make smart strategies depending on how the market changes, whether it's bullish or bearish or trading sideways. They always know how to protect their investment for themselves, how to contribute to making sure that the community continues to grow, so that that we continue to grow our market cap, so that a rising tide lifts all boats kind of a strategy. So we want to just continue to create materials that are educational, that are high quality, that are easy to understand for people that are in that situation, that are coming into our protocol, that are kind of already seeing the potential of what we're doing and just need a little bit more information so that they can really take advantage of everything and how it all works together. And then on the medium term, we're going to be bringing together all of the resources that we can find that we feel are high quality resources, whether those are articles and some other written form of information, or if they're video pieces of video content. We want to archive all of those in a document, and then put all of those links in a database that can be searchable. And in the long term, we want to turn that into a user interface that's really intuitive, that people can just go to something that has like a search bar, like a Google search bar, and type in a keyword, and be able to pull up relevant information, all of the different kinds of articles and videos that would pertain to what they're looking for, and just make it really easy to quickly get an answer to a question that they might have had to go into the Discord and see if somebody would answer them about, how do I how do I get Polygon into my MetaMask from one of the major centralized exchanges, or something like that, or something more something more involved, like how do I know whether I should be buying tokens for farming the PEG token, the Spark token. So like Sparkmatic will be an LP that's available in our seniorage protocol, or should I be investing in the share of the protocol? So for us, our share will be called DeFIRE. So questions like that. What would be what best for me, and what percentage of those tokens should I be buying in relation to each other? Rather than just buying one or the other, maybe I should buy some percentage of both. Those are the kinds of things that people have questions about all the time, and we can create very easy to understand, possibly infographics that break all of that down in a way that that'll be easy for people to reference and understand without needing to go back into the Discord and have another hour conversation back and forth with someone, which is also something that's valuable. And so the long term plan will be to develop curriculum. So kind of getting an idea over time of what are the main questions, what are the main concepts that keep coming back up, and how can we create a educational curriculum that we could build documents for, and or create voice chat, sort of like seminars on, or something that you could have like an office hours like we're having now, but just specifically about a particular concept that people need to learn about. and then having people that are dedicated on our contributor team to that education aspect of the DeFIRE Academy. Um, and that's going to take a long time to really do well. That's not something that you can do overnight, but in the long run, that will be something that will be not just beneficial to us, but it's probably something that we can help um, provide a model for other protocols to kind of adopt. Because that's something that everybody really needs. There are white papers you can read for all of the different tomb forks, and they're basically copy pastes. And some tomb forks have done small um, amendments to the protocol. Maybe they've added a smart contract, and so maybe they provide a little bit more information. But in the long run, there's not a whole lot there that you couldn't read in another one. They're all pretty much the same. So we want to be able to get away from that. We want to actually be providing really detailed information that's useful. Um, so yeah, we're going to work on that. We're already have some folks interested in helping with being what's called a DeFi tutor, um, and hopefully over time, more and more of our community will be really highly educated and aware of how everything works. And so we'll have some people that are actually, compensated to fill that role, and then other people will just be able to reach out in the general chat and just be able to help people out. So that should really strengthen our community and make us a lot more resilient. Should help us tamp down fear and uncertainty, um, and just strengthen our overall protocols ecosystem. So we are at the bottom of the hour, and it looks like it's still just me and Phoenix. So I'm going to sign off for this week. Thanks to everybody who did drop into the office hour chat, and we will talk to you again next week.